Hari Om. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this special question and answer evening with Janki ji. This is a special Q&A related to questions on the pandemic. There have been questions which have been submitted beforehand. Before we start, just a few announcements. Would request everyone to keep themselves on mute. As usual, it is in our regular classes, and for anyone joining us for the first time, request you to please mute yourself. You're free to keep your video on as long as the background is conducive to this kind of a class. And for those whose question is taken up on the screen, you can definitely put your video on and also put on your audio in case you have any clarifications to seek from Janki ji on your answer. You can also choose to be anonymous and remain with your video off. I would now invite Janki ji to take up the first question.
Thank you, Deepak. Okay, so anybody who would like to stay anonymous in your question, please direct message me so that I don't call you out, or I hope you have told the team that you wish to be anonymous. So the first one is from Jagrati. I was awarded Employee of the Year in my previous company, but later with the pandemic setting in, I lost my job as companies were trying to cut down the costs. Now I have a job, but it pays me half of what I used to get. I know these are temporary problems, but I still feel stressed with this situation. Could you guide, please? Jagrati, are you here? Okay. So Jagrati,
Yes,
you already know that. Yeah, sorry. You already know that these are temporary problems, and yet they are a cause of stress. So you should ask yourself this question: that what permanence are you seeing? Are you attending classes, or is this the first time you have ever had any association with us with this subject?
Ma'am, this is the first time that I am, attending your lectures.
Okay.
Every Thursday.
So, Jagrati, a temporary, when you yourself know that this is a temporary situation and you're still feeling stressed about it, then the only reason could probably be that you're seeing nothing permanent. If you're only seeing something that is temporary, then there's no stability in that, right? So you have to ask yourself, what is it in your life which is permanent? So if you have a higher goal, if you have a higher purpose, and you go through any temporary setbacks or any temporary situation, good or bad, then because your focus is on something more permanent, these temporary things, you are able to more clearly see that they're temporary. At the moment, we're saying it's temporary, but it's not, I'm not getting it. That's not my feeling about it. My feeling is that I'm drowning in it. So the reason I feel I'm drowning in it is because I don't have my sight on something permanent. So you need to maybe figure out for yourself what, according to you, would be a permanent goal or something to strive for. What permanence is there? If we don't, there's no point saying this is temporary unless you know something better, right? By saying this is temporary, this is not helping me. So if I can figure out something which according to me is more temporary, is more permanent, then I should be okay. Now the question is, what is that permanent thing? Usually knowledge tells us what is permanent in our life. Okay, so if you're not attending classes, the only thing I can tell you other than attend classes is that figure out what, according to you, is the broader structure of your own life. What is the meaning of it? What is the purpose? What are you trying to achieve now that you are here? What is it that you would like to do? Okay, it's not just the job and just the marriage and just the money, but what is the larger vision you have behind all of this? What, according to you, is your purpose? If you can figure that out, then even in these temporary conditions, you'll be able to figure out things you could do that would take you towards that thing. In which case you feel a sense of control over what you're doing. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am. Slightly clear, but still, uh, the question about how to figure out, what is the broader structure and uh, what is the purpose of life. I think I get the question, but I'm yet to find the answer to that.
Yeah. Don't think what is the purpose of life. You say, what is it I want to do? There's not a purpose that is there somewhere, and one day we have to listen to it and find out what is the purpose of my life. What, according to you, is what you should be doing with your life. Okay. So if you come to Vedanta studies, Vedanta has two purposes. One is, of course, perfection, enlightenment, and the other one is self-development. So when we use everything in our life as a method of self-development, then every event is something that will take us towards self-development, right? Every event can be that. So because every time I feel like I'm unhappy with an event, I can always turn back and say, okay, so what do I learn from this? What have I learned from this? So that means I'm going to grow, right? Or I can always ask the question, what can I do now in such a way that I will become a better person? So again, I'll reach the same result. So as far as Vedanta is concerned, then this would be the purpose. But nobody can superimpose a purpose upon us. So we have to all find our own purpose. What motivates me? Why do I get up in the morning? What am I wanting to do? Okay, so these are
Yes.
not, it's not something that, this is not a place where we just hand out some solutions and everybody goes home and lives happily ever after. This is a place where we examine what we all are doing and try to see if we can find better ways of doing these things.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so here is an anonymous question. My son has lost hope for life and feeling suicidal, and that has made me very stressed. He is 17 years old. Whatever he is feeling is not wrong. He and I were physically abused by my husband till May last year. And now he's just expressing the sadness and hopelessness he has seen in his life till now. My husband is a very controlling person, and we both are victims to him. Very sad to hear this. Now, as far as your son is concerned, and if he's genuinely um, feeling suicidal, like he's not seeing any purpose in his life at all, like to the point that he doesn't find this useful anymore, you may need to take professional advice. You may need to go to a counselor for that. As far as you are feeling stressed about it, now it depends how. So, as far as don't take these things lightly, please immediately go to a counselor. Somebody has to work with him and help him work out his emotions around that thing. So don't take it lightly. If anyone ever talks to us about being suicidal, we simply cannot take this lightly, and we must take immediate action and take the person to a professional in that field, because it is like somebody is not well, right? You take the person to the doctor. So this is something like that. Um, in India, we are not very clear about these things, unfortunately. Just as our physical body can have an ailment, our mind can also have an ailment. And just as our physical body is treated with whatever medication, it could be a tablet, it could be physiotherapy, whatever it is, so too our mind also can be treated like that. But the most important thing is you don't take it lightly. If someone talks like this, you have to take immediate action. So when you're feeling stressed, it gives an indication that that immediate action is not being taken. Very often in life we get stressed because we get frozen into inaction, and that is very stressful on us. So both of y'all would probably be benefited if immediate action was taken on this. You have to take this person to a professional to help him work his way out of this thing. Can't be done, unfortunately, on a public forum such as this. So please do that, and please do that immediately. And about you looking upon that as a matter of great concern, that's obvious, but please take action. So as far as our thing today, I think that's all we can deal with as far as the public forum goes. So best advice is please, as soon as possible, take an appointment with a counselor who can work with him. Okay, so we'll move forward. Since the person wants to stay anonymous, of course you can get in touch personally also later on if you want. However, this is not a counseling, this is philosophical, it's not counseling, so you need a counselor at this stage. But you can get in touch later on should you desire to. Shrimai Modi. Okay, I have anxiety issues. I have faced several episodes which resulted in a setback in career life as well, which is of utmost importance to me. How do you manage, erase emotional scars, and live a contented life after going through repeated drastic fallbacks in life? Shrimai, the fallbacks in life and failures in life are life. There is no life in which this doesn't happen. If you're feeling particularly bad for the failures or the or the fallbacks or whatever you have faced, I suggest you read the biographies of all the great people. Think of Abraham Lincoln, how many times he failed before he reached anywhere in life. So read those stories, they're very inspiring, about how out of failure, out of nothing, people have created things, and no doubt you will also. So, that's the story of the phoenix, the bird in Grecian mythology. It burns, but then it comes out of that. It ends and then it starts again. So, when we fail, there is a lot of pain. But that pain is like it's like a cleansing fire, you know. If we can find out what we need to cleanse in our personality. When we fail, it is because we didn't do something right. So if we find out what is that thing we didn't do, if we find out that right cause, then we are good, right? That kind of failure will never come to us again. So if you go back and think, since I don't know what the issues is, but if you do go back and think and figure out what is it that is causing this to me, then then imagine it became a learning opportunity for you. So step number one is, why not firstly read the lives of all these great people and how much failure they went through and how they came out of it. You know that, right? Shrimai, are you here? Hope you're here. Yeah. Okay, so step one is read the lives of these people, see how much failure people have been through, and how at any point in life we can achieve something. Because today is the first day of the rest of our life. It's a blank slate for us to write whatever we can. So let's get down to it. What is it you want? If this was failure, then what, according to you, is success? What is that you want to write? And what is the means to get to that point? Figure all this stuff out. Take help. I'll always be willing to ask for help, to say, okay, I don't know the answer to this question. Answer this question for me. Go to people, ask for advice. One of the worst things in this world is we hate to ask anybody for advice. We behave like, I know everything. Don't tell me anything. No, we don't. All of us have only very small bits of knowledge. And so it's the greatest thing for us as human beings that we can share our knowledge. It's a fantastic thing. You know something, I know something, we share our knowledge, we both go further and faster. So it's a fantastic thing that we can, you know, have this exchange of knowledge. So ask. There are lots of people who are willing to help us, to mentor us, to tell us what is going wrong. Lots of people, because human beings are naturally altruistic. They naturally want to help. Almost every human being instinctively wants to help. Then you'd say, why are they so selfish? Because other things come and block that. But the natural instinct is to help. So go to people, ask for help. So number one point, find out, read the work, read the biographies of these great people. Read Abraham Lincoln, read even Shahid Bhagat Singh. I mean, he failed, didn't he? And yet we appreciate him so much. We worship him. How many people suffered? Read Buddha, how much he suffered. Didn't he suffer? He was like, no, he tried one method, it didn't work. He tried it, abstinence, it didn't work. Then he tried indulgence, it didn't work. He tried method after method. He couldn't find enlightenment out of that. And then failure after failure, and then finally he got it. Nobody's like that. What is that chap, his name, who invented the light bulb? What is his name?
Edison.
Edison, thank you. Edison, 999 failures before he invented it, finally. So failure is just very much part of life. Read their stories, you'll find every great man has failed. So good, you failed. You found out some wrong ways of, some ways that don't achieve the result. So you're that much ahead of the game. So now if you know exactly what you want to do, I'm sure you will eventually achieve it. Nothing to feel bad that I failed in the past, because our whole life is there to achieve. What else is there? Okay. Now, if you're saying, how do I achieve? I can't answer these questions. I can't answer a specific question if you ask me a general question. Okay. So when the question is general, the answer has to be general. Okay, shall we move on? Unless you have any clarification. What is this? Again, sin? I feel I have become hollow and I have kind of started doing things without feeling them. It has resulted in total change in my way of thinking, in such a way that I myself cannot accept. How to get out of this feeling of hollowness? Srimay, are you there? Not there? We tend not to take questions when the questioner is not there, because who to answer to? Okay, so let's move on if he's not there.
He could be on YouTube, so we don't know.
So is he on YouTube? Bharat, is he on YouTube? Let's proceed because Bharat would have informed us, right? Nilesh Kumar. Kumar. With so much negativity around and deaths happening, people getting seriously unwell, what are the ways to keep oneself and one's family members positive all the time? Nilesh, are you there? Okay, let's proceed.
This is a common question you can answer, madam.
Okay, are you adopting the question?
People, most of
Yeah.
the people have the same feeling.
Yeah,
You
but
can,
somebody must say, I have this question, right? Then only we can answer it. You're adopting the question?
yes, madam, sure.
Okay. So, yes, it's really true. The state outside is unbelievably bad from whatever we hear about this whole situation. It would be a hard-hearted person who is not going to feel extremely unhappy with this thing. Now, the beauty of a human being is that we do not have to collapse under what we feel. It is extremely heartbreaking to see that there is this kind of situation around the world and very specifically in our own country. People are dying in such a way that there's no place to give them a decent cremation. Like that. So this is heartbreaking, really. So to feel like that is not only normal, it is if you didn't feel like that, you would be abnormal. How can you see this and feel nothing? However, having felt it, we don't need to crumble under the feeling. We don't need to get depressed with the feeling because the feeling should make us do something, isn't it? It's so bad outside. My question has to be, what can I do to help this situation? What way can I do something? We are all individuals. We are not industrialists. We are not, what should I say, government. We are not any of this. But even then, surely each one of us can do something. We could get together also and do something. So, if we could think in terms of how can I serve this situation, then this situation will not make my emotions overpower me. In any situation, it is better for us to take our pain and convert it into something positive rather than crumble under that pain and behave like, create another problem for somebody else to handle. So feeling like that is not only normal, it is if you don't feel bad for what is happening, you are abnormal. So feeling like that is the most obvious thing. Who would not feel like that? But having felt like that should motivate me into service, into what can I do to help? How can I help? There's no oxygen in this country. What can I do to help? Can we get together and buy maybe oxygen concentrators? because, you know, they're flying oxygen into our country, but what about oxygen concentrators? Can we use more of that? If we think like that, what can we do? If I'm doing anything about the oxygen, can I give somebody food? Can I give money? Can I do some volunteer work? What is it I can do? If I keep thinking like this, then I will not go under the emotion, but the emotion will spurt me into doing things for the greater good. Is that okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
What aspects of Vedanta knowledge will help to get over the damage done by the pandemic? DJ Gurgute. Okay. What aspects of Vedanta knowledge? Every bit of it. Every bit of it will help us get over this pandemic, because in every way it is us who have messed up. We do wrong actions and land up in this situation, isn't it? How did we land up in this pandemic? Why is nature against us? Because we did stupid things. We have poured noxious gases into the environment. We have killed the trees that could have cleaned our environment. We have not only killed the trees, we've emptied out the oceans. One of the greatest, absorbers of all the rubbish we put into the air is the ocean, because the ocean takes in the coral, the fish, all this. They deal with our carbon dioxide, but the huge, massive fishing trawlers, they sweep the ocean. I mean, clear it of all fish. I break the corals. We do stupid things, and the consequence is that we meet deadly disasters. So, how will Vedanta help us? Vedanta will help us by developing our intellect. What will the intellect do? Number one, it will make our actions correct. We will all be very careful what we do. Okay, we're not only careful what we do and its consequences to us, we'll be careful of what we do and its consequences to everybody else. So, firstly, Vedanta will clean up our actions. Second, after this whole thing is over, there's going to be a lot of damage. Okay, once this whole thing is over, who will be there, who will be gone, we have no idea. What will be there and what will be gone, we have no idea. Which companies will survive, which humans will survive, which species will survive, we don't know it. We just don't know it. It's like a pralay coming. I don't know. I'm not saying it. This is pralay, but it's like it's being cleaned up. The whole place is being cleaned up. Now, what will survive out of this thing, I don't know. But the thing is, we will all have lost something at the end of it. So the second thing Vedanta will do is, it will keep a governance over our minds so that we are not affected by what we will have lost in this process. Could be anything that we will lose. If we have not lost anything so far, it will teach us to be grateful for the good run we've had so far. Most of us have had a pretty good run so far. We have been safe, our family has been safe, our friends have been safe. We've had a pretty good run in the midst of this huge calamity. We've always had a roof over our head. We've always had food on our table. We never had to run away somewhere because this was happening. We just closed ourselves in our own homes. We've had a pretty good run. Since we've had such a good run, should we not feel immense gratitude for it? At least so far, so good. Third thing, that what has gone well, let us be grateful for. Vedanta will teach us that. So Vedanta cleans out our actions, cleans out our emotions, and cleans our intellect, which will give us the clarity to understand how to proceed further. So what aspects of Vedantic knowledge will help in the pandemic? Every aspect of it. The more we know of Vedanta, the less the pandemic will affect us. It's a direct relationship. not only less affect us, the more capable we are of being of benefit to whatever is happening during the pandemic. It's not all about us after all, isn't it? How much have we done that has benefited others during this pandemic? So every bit of it. Is that okay?
This answer is there for future or in a long run. But during this pandemic, what is the first aid? Vedanta's knowledge is the first aid. One should take it and stand during this pandemic and go through. And then whatever you're saying will eventually will follow.
No, today, right now, we've got two distinct things. One is service and one is gratitude. We are grateful for what we are in a good situation in spite of the mess. So we're grateful, immense gratitude for that. And because we have immense gratitude for that and a heart to feel for those who did not have that, we will serve them. So that's the first thing. What can we do to help? So what is the right action right now is to do whatever we can to help. Each one in our own little way. So immediate thing, what do? Experience the gratitude and do the service. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Javeed or Javed. How to stop overthinking and fear. Javed or Javeed, are you here? Okay, let's move on.
Janki, could you take that question?
Sorry?
Akhila,
Yeah.
I would like to adopt that question. Could you answer that?
Okay, sure. Akhila, so put the question back on, Omkar, please. How to stop overthinking and fear. How to stop overthinking and fear. So first and foremost, obviously you know that you are overthinking. So we are that much ahead of the game that you have found out you're overthinking. When you're overthinking, you avoid overthinking by increasing activity. So when you are thinking unnecessarily, get up and start doing something. Preferably something which is physically very taxing. A workout, maybe some good cleaning and scrubbing and rubbing of your house, jogging, something that's physically taxing. Because sometimes what happens is your mind gets in a loop, and obviously, intellect is not strong enough to hold that loop. So, the best thing is to use action. When your body is busy in activity that doesn't let you think, it breaks the loop. And then once the loop is broken, then you can sort of attend to it in any other way. Okay, so how do you stop overthinking? Immediately get into action. Whenever you notice that you are overthinking, just start moving the body, because moving the body prevents you from thinking, right? Like especially if the work is such that you're scrubbing something or you're taking out everything from your cupboard and trying to reorganize the whole thing, clean it, reorganize the whole thing, or you're going for a jog or a workout. You can't think. What will you think? So first step is do that. Now, as for fear, you have to sort of find out what is the fear about. Okay, so let's say that it is a financial fear. I don't have a job, and therefore now I don't have money, and so I don't know where, like how am I going to pay my child's fees, or I don't know what is the fear. So first find out what is the fear, and apply your intellect to it. Apply your intellect means sit down with your problem and say, okay, so what's the problem now? I'm thinking about how I'm going to pay my son's fees or whatever in the world I am thinking about. So what are my options? What are my options? How many options do I have in this situation? So maybe I'll come up with options. Otherwise, always ask for help. People are there to help us. So always ask people, I can't think of how to handle the situation. Please, can you tell me how to handle the situation? Okay, so either come up with options of your problem, identify the problem, find out options. You can't come up with any option that works for you. Take advice of somebody who you think might be able to help you with that. In other words, apply your intellect to that situation. You don't have to ignore a fear. A fear is telling you that something is going wrong. So please find out what is that thing that is going wrong. If you're worried about your health, if your fear is my health may go, it's telling you something is going wrong. So please find out what. It's like I don't know, it's like something in you telling you something is going wrong. So identify. When you start feeling all these things, it's like the dashboard of the car, it's flashing some lights. Please find out what those lights are saying and attend to it. If you know how to attend to it yourself. If you don't know how to attend to it, take advice. Are you okay, Akhila?
Thank you, Janki ji.
Want to ask you, based on the Vedantic theory, why billions of people all over the world are in pain and suffering due to the same disease. Preeti, are you here?
Yes, Janki ji, I'm there.
Okay. So why are we all suffering from it? Preeti, this question is very, I don't know what to call it. You live in a house, you live in an apartment, I assume. You live in an apartment, you live in, where are you, Preeti? Are
A
you
house.
in a house?
I'm in Delhi.
Delhi, okay.
In a
So
house,
you live
yeah.
in a brick structure, right? As do the rest of us. Do we ever ask this question, how come all human beings are living in a brick structure? By the fact of being human beings, we all have access to a lot of facilities. Just as you're now in Delhi, I am in Mumbai, somebody is somewhere, somebody is in the US, somebody is in Madras, somebody is in Bangalore. We are all in different places here. But how can we talk to each other? By the fact of being human beings, we have enjoyed the benefits of being human beings. Okay, it is our run to humans, it is our debt that we have on our head, that because I'm a human being, I have enjoyed the facilities. I can have a Coke because I'm a human being. I can have an air conditioner because I'm a human being. I can have a car because I'm a human being, right? I can live in a safe structure with proper government and police and whatnot because I'm a human being. So I have got all the benefits of being a human being. However, we as a species, as human beings, have also done a lot of damage to the environment, to other creatures, to everybody. We have been very, very, as a species, we
Yes,
have been
that's true.
extremely destructive to the other species. Extremely.
Yeah.
So since we enjoyed the benefits of being human, we will also enjoy the problems of being human. So it comes as a package deal.
Is it because of collective karma?
Collective karma, yes, of course. Collective karma in the sense we have benefited, right? We took benefit of those factories that let out the pollutants. We enjoyed the benefits of those factories. So we have taken the benefit, so we will also get the backlash of it all. So therefore, what can we do at the moment? Service. That's our only hope. Our only hope out of this pandemic is that we all get together with service. That's our only hope. If we don't do that, we'll get nowhere. We'll get nowhere means we'll literally be nowhere.
So that means that so far what I have learned from the classes and studying Gita and Vedanta and what, we have to face the consequences of our karma. So that means it is the collective karma of all the people which are now affecting the mankind.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very poetic way of
And
putting it,
hence
but
the suffering.
yeah, I mean, you can call it you can call it any name, but the fact is, you know, whatever thing you have enjoyed, you will get the backlash of
Should
that
add-
thing also.
Yeah.
There are people who are self-realized, also are going through the same pains of the pandemic. How
If
do
they are
they?
people, if they are people, they will, because they will get what you all are calling collective. They're people, right? Only difference between them and us, or any wise person and us, is they will be more concerned with service, and therefore they will be less affected with what is going on.
Emotionally, you mean to say? Emotionally or mentally?
Yeah, they don't go under their emotions. If you don't feel anything when so much mess is going on, there's something wrong with us, right? To
True.
feel it is natural. But we don't have to go under that emotion and get crushed under it. We have to use it to spark us into activity and doing the right things. So when you do the right things,
I think
you feel good because you're doing what needs to be done.
Thank you, Janki ji. I think I'll have to accept it for the moment. Might come back to you again sometime later.
Great.
Naresh Keval Ramani. How are you here, Naresh?
Hariom Janki ji, yes, I am here.
Okay. How does one use free will in the pandemic when most of the activities are restricted? It is frustrating for many of us whose schedule is disturbed because of the lockdown. How does one use free will in the pandemic when most of the activities are restricted? Naresh, we use free will to understand that whatever frustration I'm going through is actually a cause for gratitude. So free will, what does the word free will mean? The word free will means that I am free to be apart from whatever I am going through. The opposite of free will is vasanas. My vasanas, my inherent desires, force a certain reaction out of me. But when I have free will, I am free to choose to react differently. So I can feel very frustrated because my schedule has got interrupted. Okay, but I can still choose to say, I am so happy that I get to stay at home with my family. Right? So the natural reaction when something is taken away from us is to say, how can this be taken away from me? But a more free reaction is to say, thank God for the things that are still there with me. Otherwise, what happens is when something is with me, I feel no pleasure, no gratitude. And when it goes away from me, I grumble till doomsday. Such a person, how can they be happy under any circumstance? Isn't it? When we
I'll
were
just give an example. Like my brother, he has got a shop. So even the shop is closed. He's unable to control himself. Every day he goes to the shop, sits outside the shop, and then comes back after 2 hours. So in spite of us telling him that you don't go to the shop, it's closed, nothing is going to happen. He tells me, no, I have to go. It's my routine. I go there, I sit, and then I come back. So how do we control this type of people? That's what I mentioned by free will. Like their desire to go to the shop and spend some time there, though it is closed.
we have to control our desire to stop them. Every human being, by the fact of being a human being, has the right to choose how they wish to live their life. If he wishes to go to the shop, well, so be it. What can you do? We don't need to tell anybody else how to live. Let us live proper lives. Let us look at it this way. I'm finding it so difficult to control my desire to control him. Why do I expect it will be easy for him to control his desire to go to the shop? Right? Each one of us is in the same boat with reference to control of our desires. None of us are able to control it. So it's always easy for us to tell other people, you should control your desire. But it's always better for me to tell myself, let me control my desire to tell him, no. It's so frustrating when other people do things that we don't think right. We say, how can you do that? You're so wrong.
Yeah, understand.
I think there was a second question also. Okay, Naresh, you have to put your question a little better because your question and what it really was were two completely different things.
Okay.
How does one deal with the uncertainty and anxiety in a scenario where in hospital beds, medicine, vaccine, practically everything is in short supply and family and elders are tensed up? Well, what else can we do? It's true, there's no hospital bed, there's no medicine, there's no vaccine. This is the situation. And the question is there something we can do? If there is, what is that thing? Let us do it. If there is nothing we can do, then let us know that there is nothing we can do. But there's always something we can do, right? We can take care of ourselves. We can wear the mask. We can do the social distancing. We can do the hand washing. We can do all of that. We can take our vitamin C. I'm not please prescribing anything. Whatever according to you works for your immunity, please take it. Whatever is not going to damage you and you believe it will help you in immunity, then please take it. Because if you do think that it will help your immunity, there's a 50% chance that it will. Because placebo effect is well known. So if you think it will help, please take it. So whatever according to you works, please do it. Please help all those people who require help. All right. And as we do all these things and we just keep our attention on what productive thing can I do, then our life is not all about grumbling about what can't be done. What can I do? Never mind what I can't do, but what can I do? That's what I need to keep asking myself. What can I do in this situation? Very simple, right? Every one of us can try and eat healthy food. Every one of us can try and do enough exercise to keep this body healthy. Every one of us can drink the necessary quantity of water every day. Even that people are not doing. Drink water, okay, you understand you're not going to exercise, but why not drinking water? Okay, drink the water, eat the right food, do whatever it takes. Aditi, that was very quick execution. Do whatever it takes. Okay, so we can do this and help anyone who we can. Help doesn't necessarily mean doing something. It's also being charitable to the frustration other people are going through. Some of us, it's very, very comfortable sitting at home and doing our work. For some people, it's not. For some people, it's horrible sitting at home. Okay? For some people, it's fine, fantastic. Sitting at home is bliss. Sit at home, do all your work, no problem. For some, it's like that. But for others, it's not. So unfortunately for them, their desires have been interrupted. Let those of us who are comfortable at home be charitable to those who are not comfortable at home. Take a little more trouble for them because you are already comfortable, right? And do something to make them a little more comfortable. So service is not just about going and giving something to somebody. just that charitable instinct. I can see that your desires are being interrupted. So how can I make it less difficult for you? So when we keep focusing like that, how can life not be smooth and comfortable for you and for everybody else? How can it not be? Are you okay, Naresh?
Yeah, I'm okay, Janki. There was a small clarification to your earlier answer. What I wanted to ask you is, does knowledge of Vedanta help in resolving psychological issues like anxiety disorders or depressive episodes?
Yes and no. There are two things. Okay, this should be very carefully understood by everybody who's in class. There are two different things. There are normal people who are going through some emotional turmoil. Vedanta will deal with that no problem. There's a second lot of people who have a mental disease, an ailment, an illness. Now, Vedanta will help them not in the way it will help the others. Vedanta will help them in being able to tackle their disease better. But the disease requires medicine, it's a medical issue. So please learn to make this distinction. It's like asking, can Vedanta help with tuberculosis? Well, tuberculosis is a disease that requires medicine, but if you had Vedanta to support you through the journey, your journey will become easier. That's it. But you can't say, I'm going to study Vedanta treatise every morning and my tuberculosis will go away, right? You will have to take the medicine. Similarly, the mind, the brain itself is capable of ailments. And when it has those ailments, it needs medical intervention. So if it requires medical intervention, then the role of Vedanta is to tell you it requires medical intervention. This is not for you to do mind control over here. If you're a manic depressive or you're schizophrenic or you have disorders, then please go to a medical practitioner. But if you're going through mental turmoil, there's no ailment, you're just going through mental turmoil, then of course Vedanta will directly take away that mental turmoil by telling you the right way of living life. Okay, so let's distinguish between lifestyle ailments and diseases. Okay, lifestyle ailments can be corrected by having the right lifestyle, but a disease requires a medicine. Is that clear?
Yes, Janki, it's clear. Thank you. Thank you.
Amrita, my son lives in USA and I haven't been able to meet him since the start of the pandemic. Whole of last year I managed to remain positive and busy with work, but my anxiety levels have increased with the second spike. The added uncertainty is making it more difficult to control my emotions. I know I'm supposed to apply my intellect, but I'm more reactive and it's now affecting my relations with everyone, mostly my spouse. How can I help myself? Amrita, you there? Amrita, firstly, just try to be a little kind with yourself. You have struggled through it. You have done it for a period of time. It is like a weight that we are carrying. So after some time, we get tired carrying that weight, right? Then we put the weight down. So the first thing we need to understand is that we are all of us going through difficult times. All of us. Everybody in some way or the other has to bear it. And this is a difficult time. And so a certain amount of anxiety or disappointment or anger or anything is only natural. So there's no reason to feel that, oh my God, I'm feeling like this. Unnecessary additional stress on ourselves. Yes, I'm feeling like this. So if you are feeling like this and it's causing a problem to your family, go to your family and say, especially your spouse, that I am feeling very anxious and sometimes my anxiousness, I snap at you or I say something rude. it's my fault, I'm sorry. Please just forgive me. There's really nothing I can do at the moment. I'm going to be like this. And most spouses just say, almost all husbands treat their wives something like an act of God. They have no idea what's going on with them. And they just say, okay, this is what is happening currently. So I'm assuming your husband will take the same philosophical stance about his wife and say, okay, kuch hai abhi. And he will go off on his own thing, leave him alone. But you express yourself just exactly like you said over here. So that shows honesty, and it shows humility, and it shows humanness, right? And as long as we have all these three qualities, we're okay. What's the problem? Just tell them, I'm sorry, I feel like this. I snap at you. I'm getting irritable. But this is why it's happening. And I'm anticipating that it will go on for another couple of months. So please put up with me. And if I'm just too bad, then you please shout back at me. No problem. Okay, so that you're dealing with your mind also, and you're dealing with his mind also. Okay, because otherwise other people don't know, when we are under stress, we snap at them. They may not know how much under stress we are. They have no idea. And because every human being looks at it as something to do with me, that everybody takes it personally. So when they take it personally, it hurts them more. So we just prevent it from getting any worse. Ab hai to hai na, I am anxiety ridden. Ab kya main karu? Hai. This is a fact of my life now. Just put up with it just as I'm putting up with it. Okay, and of course, after you just chill a little bit, accept yourself, you will yourself find that after some time you will readjust to it. So just because at the moment it becomes too much for everybody at every once in a while. Watch television, see a movie, chat with your friends, take the stress off.
Thank you.
Asha Kiran Pasricha. Are you here, Asha? Asha Kiran. Is there any trace in Vedanta regarding the kind of pandemic we are facing now in the present situation? Any trace in Vedanta? No, Vedanta doesn't do any predictive things. It only tells you to watch your actions because your action gives fruit. So Vedanta doesn't do anything predictive. But based on cause and effect relationships, we know that we only messed up. We know that, right? Everybody knows that. How does Vedanta help the COVID affected person to improve physically, psychologically, and morally? Vedanta helps the COVID affected person to improve just as it helps anybody to improve because it gives them clarity of thought. When you have clarity of thought, when you understand what is going on, you understand the laws of how things are operating, there is a peculiar kind of satisfaction in just knowing that everything is just functioning normally. There is nothing abnormal going on over here. You understand how it is happening. So once you understand how things are happening, you understand these causal relationships, you will improve physically, psychologically, and morally. Obviously, because you understand the setup, right? So you understand that it is my actions that give me old age. It is my actions that give me disease. So you take care of your body, then you won't have old age. Old age means obviously the body will deteriorate, but you understand what work you can also do so that you can minimize that deterioration. Psychologically, if your attitude is always service oriented, you'll always be in a wonderful mental condition. You'll always be comfortable and you'll always be soothing to others. And morally, once you understand the facts of life, how can you not be a moral person? It just goes hand in hand. In fact, Vedanta is considered to be the strongest base of pure morality because it just explained what happened. So it does exactly the same thing. What is your reflection and evaluation on coronavirus when people claim it is a biochemical weapon to destroy humanity? No view on the matter, Asha Kiran. I have no idea about this. I not studied it. I don't know whether it's a weapon or not. I don't know whether it was man-made or not man-made. There's a lot of debate on everything, but it doesn't matter one way or the other. Now we all of us have to get together and deal with the situation. Be kind to one another, serve one another, and we'll come out of it. Are you okay, Asha Kiran? Okay, Vijay, is there any Vedantic principle which speaks about medicinal concepts and how Vedanta helps get maximum benefits of Ayurvedic medicines for the treatment of diseases? No, Vijay. Vedanta is philosophy. What you are referring to, these concepts, medicinal concepts, are to do with the Vedas, not with Vedanta. Specifically, the fourth Veda, Atharva Veda, has a lot of these medical things from which Ayurveda then evolved. But Vedanta is a philosophy. It tells us about life in general. When you understand the facts of life, then every aspect of life will get better. A, you will have less need for medicine. B, when you do have medicine, your mental comfort and happiness will make that medicine work on your body better. So if you live a right lifestyle in the first place, you will reduce the need for medicine. And when you take the medicine and your mind is at peace, obviously you'll get better faster. What is the next thing? I see that there is a lot of stuff on the chat. What is the role of Vedanta and Ayurveda? Exactly what I just said. Oh my gosh. There are a lot of questions. So what do we do with this? It's already 8 o'clock. Kamlesh. Okay. Oh, Reshma also wants. So there are some questions left. I suggest you'll come to class. What else can we do? Unless we have lots more questions besides this, and then maybe we'll do another Q&A. Should we do that? Whatever, we'll think about it and find it useful. Deepak has come back, so we have to close up now.
Can I ask for a question?
Sorry?
Can I ask for some clarity?
Okay.
See, all that you understand the life and death. So you're not affected by so much of corona. So and you're saying it's abnormal. You're not affected by it. Not feeling for it.
Means you don't feel the pain of others. You may not personally be affected, but you can feel the pain of others, right?
No, affected means this is the karmas and how it even after the death, it's actually a promotion for the person to go further, whatever the person wants it.
No, forget the person who died. Whatever the person who are alive and are suffering. What about the family who cannot handle those deaths? What about the desperation of people who are watching their loved ones die? It's horrible to be in that situation.
Yeah, that's it. finally for the person who is dead and all that, it's good for him.
Okay, but
Yeah.
the dead people are the minority. It is those who are living that we are concerned about.
Right. Okay.
Okay, Deepak.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janki ji, for taking the questions today. For all of you whose questions were answered and are new and have follow-up questions, or for some for whom the answers have generated more questions, we have classes weekly. They're on Thursdays, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as you can see on the screen. There are different texts which are taken in these classes, but the sessions are very interactive. So as and when appropriate, you can even ask your question during those classes. And if you have not been a part of the WhatsApp group, then you can even join the WhatsApp group. The number is on the screen. As was mentioned in one of the answers that Janki ji gave, this philosophy will answer most of your questions. And even if you're dealing with an immediate ailment, it helps you recover from that ailment, even though you may want to go to a doctor for it. But the process of learning the subject will help that recovery process. So please feel free to message on this number if you want any more information, and everyone's free to join the classes. Thank you so much. Hari Om.